Okay, now I'm going to discuss about Dockerizing a Flask application. Before going to that, we need to configure our EC2 machine in such a way that it will give access to the 500 port inside the local application, because often it will provide some of the you know ports that are not accessible outside the world, and for that reason we need to configure those things, and I will show you how to configure those. Okay, you need to go into the EC2 machine, and over there we need to go into the instances. Under the instances there is something called as the security. You need to go over there in the security, and you have the security groups. You have to click on that. Once you go on there, you just have to click on this inbound rules, and you have to edit the rules. Once you come over here, you have to just add the rule. This is custom, and the port what you require the 5001 port, and anywhere IPv4, anywhere if this thing exists 5000 port inside my application, I need access over that. Just have to save this application. Once it is done, okay, now I am going to discuss about how we can Dockerize a Flask application. As you know, Flask application is some sort of a web framework that is developed by the Python, and here we can able to create our own website using the Flask as a backend, and any framework or anything as a front end one. Okay, now I am going to show you how to Dockerize a Flask application. Before that, we need to have two files. One is a Python file and the second one is Docker file. I will create those things. For that, I need an app folder. I created an app folder, I added it into my directory, and I will create some two files like the demo.py file and the docker file. Okay, now we have the two file over here, and what I do in the demo file, I just add some of the things into it. This is a starting boilerplate of a Flask application to start with this thing. What I do, I just copy some starting boilerplate code of the Flask, and I will paste it over here. As you know, it is importing the Flask from the Flask, and it is assigning a Flask into the app, and it is running that app application under the port 5001. And we have previously discussed how we can able to get access to the 5001 port of the EC2 machine using the security groups. And now I will just escape it and I will save, and once it is done, I will go into the Docker file. Under the Docker file, we have some of the things to I mean, you need to configure those file. I just insert those file over here. As you can have a look over here, we are not using any of the operating system over here. Like, we are just using the Python application, that is some sort of a system library to run this particular application, and we are copying that app. Sorry, this is not the place where I'm storing my application. This is a home slash Ubuntu, and under which we have our app, and here also we are going to go with the same home slash Ubuntu slash app. And I'm not going to add any requirement file over here. I'm just going to install my Flask here, like the Flask. Once it is done, you just need to save and quit from this particular thing. And what I'm do, I just login into my Docker. Here my username is shankwai768, and once it is done, I just copy and paste um, copy and paste my application. And once I done with these things, it will show me the Docker login successful. Once it is done, I just clear everything, just list down my applications. Like, we have the two files in our folder, Docker file and the demo.py file. What I do, I just use Docker build -t, that means the tag name, and my username in the Docker files, that is Shashank y768 slash my application name, and here it is the latest one. Once I do sorry, extremely sorry, we need to add that folder. Like previously I discussed that using the dot, like in the Docker file, the whole of the folder is copied into some dot folder, and we have to access that and we have to build according to that. And once it is done, it start pulling my image, like it start pulling my image. Are there any sort of images over there? Once it is done, it is successfully done, and I just clear these things, and I just want my Docker images. As you can have a look over here, this is the Docker images. As of now, latest we have the Shashank 768 like slash app, and for that reason I'm going to run that application. Docker run minus it, and here I'm going to use 3e9 and c387e95 and 20, and once it is done, we're done with these things. Here, as you can have a look over here, this is a Flask application that is currently running. It's currently running, and in the port 127.0.0.1, and this is how we go with it. And this is all about dockerizing a Flask application, and this is how we run it. Normally in previous things, we ran a application that is some sort of a small file. Here we are running a web framework, and this thing goes same for the modern application, Spring Boot, the Django, and anything that have some of the servers running.